Hey, what's up, guys? Keyshawn McNeil here. Today, we're going to talk about that first initial phone screen. This is the call you're going to have with probably a recruiter. 99% of the time, it's going to be a recruiter that's going to call you or some type of HR professional as a first step in the interview process. So when this recruiter actually calls you, it's usually just to check the boxes on your resume. So what I want you to do, this is going to probably help you get to that next step in the interview process. And what that next step is basically the recruiter just simply forwarding your resume over to the hiring manager. So when you get that call, I don't want you to feel like you got to have these elaborate, crazy, nice answers right now, because this interview is not for that. All right. The first interview is as follows. It's because they found your resume online or you applied for a particular job. Now the recruiter's just calling to check the boxes. So what they're going to do is they're going to go down your resume, okay? And they're going to just make sure that what's on your resume, you can actually back it up. So this is very important, okay? This step is very important, guys. Look, make sure, okay, that you give yourself a chance to glance over your resume, before you apply to these jobs. Or if you're going to have your resume online, maybe refresh it, update your resume. So that way, when the recruiter actually gives you a call to say, hey, I'm so-and-so calling from XYZ company. I found your resume on XYZ, or thank you for applying to XYZ, and wanted to just kind of talk to you briefly about your background. So the main things they're going to cover is your resume. They're going to talk about mainly what you are doing right now. Okay. And if you have experience working with Java technology and you have that as a skill set on your resume, please be able to discuss that. Okay. It's the worst thing in the world. The worst thing that can happen to you is that something is actually on your resume and you can't back it up, meaning you don't have any experience in doing that. I've probably interviewed over 3,000 or 4,000 people in my career, and it kills me because it kills the process when someone has something on their resume and they say, oh, I have no experience with that, but yet it's on their resume. So for me, and the way I train recruiters, the interview's cut, we're done, because that person can't back up what's on their resume. So it's very important to be able to back up what's on your resume. So that first initial contact is going to be basically just going over your resume. I'm going to talk about what you're currently doing at your current job, okay? And most importantly, why are you looking to leave right now? And then we'll also ask you, what is your salary range? Okay? So the way you're going to answer these questions are as follows. When the recruiter asks you, why are you looking to leave right now? Now, if you have a valid reason as to why you're looking to leave, maybe because your current job is going to be ending in a certain period of time, maybe you've kind of capped out at the level, at your current job, so you're looking for a new challenge. It could be you're actually looking to make more money, right? What I would recommend to answer that question, just say, well, I'm just kind of taking a look at the market right now. I've been here however many years you've been at the job, and it's been great, but just kind of taking a look and see if there's some new challenges out there for me. Now you've kind of let the recruiter know that you're just kind of open right now. Recruiters love individuals, for one, who are already working. Number two, they're not super aggressive on the market, or they don't appear to be. So you could be aggressive, but don't show your face card is what I call it. And they seem to be very kind of passive in their job seeking, right? Believe it or not, recruiters actually like candidates like that because they know that you're going to take any opportunity seriously, because there's the illusion that you don't have to make a move. You don't have to switch jobs right now. You're just kind of seeing what's out there right now. You're just kind of taking a look at the market, that type of thing. So remember that. So you may want to answer that question with a simple, actually, I've been at this company 3 years now. It's going well. I'm just kind of trying to see what else is out there right now. Maybe looking at some new challenges, and seeing what the market's doing right now. That's it. So you're non-committal, but the right opportunity comes along, you're interested, which is why you're on the phone with that recruiter. So remember that, guys. You don't have to have these elaborate answers right now. This is just a first initial contact. We call it a touch point in the recruiting industry. It's that first initial screen, just to kind of get to know you. They want to hear your voice, know if you have, maybe a huge accent, maybe you, how you speak over the phone, that kind of gives them a sense of, your professionalism or what have you. Again, if you have an accent, it's not a deal breaker. You just want to make sure you're in a very good area where the recruiter can actually hear you and you can talk clearly, no big deal. An accent does not mean you don't speak good English, okay? But we want to make sure that we're in a good area, good phone reception, so that that way your words come through, clearly, okay? Also, when you're having that first initial interview, the term of the salary is going to come up. The conversation about salary is going to come up. And over the years, I've seen a lot of individuals have issues with answering that question. They get kind of weirded out about it for whatever reason, I don't know. But the interviewer may ask you, what type of salary are you are you looking for to make a move? And just be honest. If you don't really know how to answer that question, take whatever you're making right now, okay? Especially if you're a passive job seeker. Take whatever you're making right now. For the example, let's say it's 100K. So you're making 100K right now. Go ahead, inflate it $10,000. Okay, so now you're at 110K. So you just tell the recruiter simply, well, I'm looking at a range between 110 to 120K. And then say, yeah, I know it's a pretty big window, but it's kind of where I am. And I may have some small flexibility there, right? Now, adversely to that, if you are willing to take a lateral because maybe your job is ending and maybe you're not even working right now, so you're a little more flexible, but you don't want to be just super flexible and take less than really what you were making at your previous job or what you're currently making, all because you need to keep a job, right? I get it. I totally get it. But now's not the time to panic. So if you aren't working right now, here's what you might say. So let's say your last job, you were making $100,000. And now the recruiter asks you that question about, hey, what type of salary range are you looking at, right? So now you may start it at where you finished. So if you last left at 100K, you may say, well, I'm looking to, at a salary anywhere between 100K and 115K. So you always inflate at least $15,000 and you land somewhere in the middle. You still got a raise from your last job. Worst case scenario, if it's just, hey, our max we can do is $100,000, okay, you're still where you left off. What I always recommend students to do that I coach is that regardless if you're working or not, always start $10,000 higher as it pertains to salary and give yourself another $10,000 window. So that means if you're making 100K right now, you're going to say, I'm looking for 110 to 120K, period. All right. And I even encourage, like I said, I encourage students to do that who may not be working right now. All right. Because at the end of the day, the recruiter can always just come back and say, well, that's kind of out of our range. That's the worst thing they can say is that, oh, that's out of our range. We can't do that. You simply just follow up with, well, what is this position budgeted for? Then they're going to tell you, well, the max we can do with this position is, since they can't do 100, they may say 80 to 90K. Okay, so now you know that you can probably come in at about that $90,000 range. Now, for someone not working, it's probably going to be favorable for you to take that just to get the interview going, just to get into the process. Take that because you want to get back to work. I get it. Now if you have a savings and you don't have to rush back to work, you can say, well, hey, that's not in my range. Hey, you guys keep me in mind for future opportunities, and you kind of end the call, right? But if you're willing to take that 90K, or you're willing to maybe take less than what you were making before, now you can say, well, okay, I can probably get negotiable down to about $90,000, but I would be interested in hearing more about the opportunity, right? So you don't make it about money at that point, all right? Guys, again, this is just that first initial contact with the recruiter. I don't want you guys to take it too seriously. You don't have to have these elaborate answers. The only thing recruiters are trying to do is maybe take, I would say, 5 to 10 minutes max to go over your resume and just decide if they're going to forward you on to the hiring manager for further review. So 1, make sure that resume is updated. Make sure you can back up every skill on that resume. 2, talk about the salary when they ask it. Go through the process in terms of giving yourself a range, okay? And 3, make sure you're in a good area where the interviewer can hear you, so that way your responses come off very clear and concise, and you speak professionally over the phone. All right, that's it. At that point, the recruiter may ask you about specific skills, and this is just kind of going to give you a window into exactly what they're hiring for, right? So, for example, let's just say it's a development role, and you have to have .NET experience. So not just .NET, but they want you to have specifically experience working with C#, which is in the .NET suite. So they may say, so I see you're a .NET developer. Do you have any experience working with C#? So when they ask specific questions about a technology, it's because they're using that technology. And they're probably letting you know because this position requires someone to be able to work in not just .NET Suite, but also have experience with C#. You know, it's about 70% C# work. It's going to kind of let you know it's kind of some new development or what have you, etc. So just kind of listen for those key questions that they may ask, because once they go over your resume and they kind of figure out why you're leaving or why you're on the market or what have you, be very non-committal in that regard. Just say, well, hey, I've been working in an XYZ company for however long you've been there, and I'm not 100% looking, but I'm just kind of trying to see what the market's like right now. You know, I enjoy what I do here, you know, but I just want to kind of see what else is out there, see if there are any new challenges for me. You know, that's for someone who's currently working a job. Now, if you're not working, you know, you can, you know, I kind of side on both sides of this, but if you're not working, you can say, hey, my last contract actually ended, or my last job ended on XYZ. And if it hasn't been too long, that's great. If you ended that last job 2 years ago and you're still not working, that's a problem. You know, now we're wondering, are you employable, right? Meaning, did you have some problems at that last job? So to stay away from all of those questions coming back from the recruiter, you may say, hey, my last contract ended on XYZ, you know, and I'm kind of looking for the right opportunity before I take my next job, you know, and that kind of keeps it where you're kind of being somewhat selective, so you're not coming off as desperate for that new job. But again, these are just tips, guys, for that first initial contact from the interview. Do not overthink it. You know, remember these, remember these little nuggets I gave you here. Use them, and they will help you make sure that when that phone hangs up, the recruiter is going to definitely type up a summary on you and is going to submit you to the next step in the interview process. I hope you guys got something out of this episode, and if you did, please hit the like button. It really helps out with the YouTube algorithm. And if you also like what you saw, subscribe to the channel for more future updates on financial tips as well as career advice. My name is Keizon McNeil, and as always, run your race.